And moving to Latin America, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has prepared a sweeping emergency decree that would hand him extraordinary powers if the United States proceeds with what his government calls a military assault on the nation. The decree, signed under the clause of external commotion, was confirmed by the country's Vice President Delcy Rodriguez on Monday. Rodriguez, in her address, warned of catastrophic consequences if American forces cross the line from pressure into a direct invasion.
Any kind of external aggression, if United States military forces dared to do so, would be considered an external attack, and this emergency decree for external commotion would be activated immediately. With what intention? With the aim of granting the President, as head of state, special powers as contemplated by the Constitution to deploy our Bolivarian National Armed Force throughout the national territory, to immediately take, militarily, the infrastructure of public services, our hydrocarbons industry, and the country's basic industries.
The decree allows Maduro to place the armed forces on full wartime footing, seal the country's borders, and put vital infrastructure, including the energy industry and public services, directly under military command. In her announcement, Vice President Rodriguez dismissed Washington's claim that its military actions in the Caribbean are about combating drug trafficking, calling the justification a big lie.
What the United States government, the warmonger Marco Rubio, is doing against Venezuela is a threat prohibited by the United Nations Charter. And if they were to dare to attack our homeland, the external commotion decree gives the head of state special powers to act on defense and security and defend Venezuela.
She further alleged that the real American interest lies in Venezuela's vast natural wealth, its oil, gas, gold, and biodiversity. According to her, the United States is not simply fighting drugs, but declaring war on the planet, driven by a hunger for resources. Under Venezuela's constitution, such a decree can remain active for 90 days and be extended once for another 90, meaning President Maduro could rule with these expanded emergency powers for nearly half a year. Vice President Rodriguez clarified that in such a scenario, those Venezuelans who openly supported foreign intervention could face consequences, declaring that no one who calls for an invasion can still call themselves Venezuelan. Now, this standoff comes against the backdrop of a heavy American military presence in the Caribbean. And since mid-August, the United States has deployed 8 warships and even a nuclear-powered submarine to the southern Caribbean, saying the mission is part of its campaign against Latin American drug cartels. In recent weeks, U.S. strikes on boats allegedly carrying narcotics have killed at least 17 people, including United Nations experts describing the actions as extrajudicial executions. Behind these moves stand key figures in Washington, such as Stephen Miller, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, who's taken an unusually prominent role in directing operations, sometimes even overshadowing Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The Trump administration, meanwhile, has justified these attacks under presidential powers of self-defense, citing the designation of Venezuelan groups like Tren de Aragua as foreign terrorist organizations. For Venezuela, the stakes couldn't be higher, as the country says it's fighting not just for sovereignty, but for survival, even as U.S. officials reportedly weigh new options, including the use of drone strikes against suspected drug targets inside Venezuela. And so with both sides now locked in opposing narratives and military forces already in place, the next developments will depend on whether diplomatic channels can still prevent this tense standoff between Washington and Caracas from escalating even further.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
$36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion kakarjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
4 兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.